Good morning. Happy Thursday, guys. So this message is to all you agency owners out there. Whether you have a small agency, you're running one or two agents, or you got several agents. Are you aware that every time your agents get on the phones to set up appointments, call leads, make sales over the phone, you are responsible for their actions? And some of you might be saying, well, these are 1099 agents, they're not my employees, etc., etc. And I get what you're saying. But if you search the word vicarious liability and tag that with TCPA on your Google or your Chat GPT, you're going to get a whole lot of information about what I'm talking about. But I'm going to highlight a couple points. But bottom line, there's a big issue with folks picking up the phones, making illegal phone calls. And not only that, but now you got call centers overseas, that are being hired by USA call centers and agencies to sell insurance on their behalf, which is obviously a no-no. In fact, I got 3 lawsuits right now against life insurance companies, again, where their agents are doing just this. And for years, what do companies do? Well, they wash their hands and distance themselves from the agent by highlighting that they're not an employee and, they have a contract that they must follow, and anything that's not authorized in that contract, then the agent can get terminated. But bottom line, it's mainly designed to, protect the life insurance carrier. But over the years, more and more cases have been won because of vicarious liability, where people are able to prove that the life insurance company is liable for the illegal actions of their independent agents. And one of the ways that can trigger that vicarious liability is if you can prove that the callers that are harassing you, or the people that are selling insurance without a license, like in my case, these 3 cases have that included, are using the name of your agency or the insurance company that you're representing. So for example, I sell Senior Life, and every single time that I pick up the phone, I say, hello, thank you for calling Senior Life Insurance Company, and everything from the advertisement to my staff, everything is Senior Life. So if you can prove that everybody involved is using the company name or the carrier name, then that can trigger easily a vicarious liability. Also, if they make a sale and the insurance company makes an override, a profit, which we all do, that can also trigger vicarious liability. And here's what's crazy, that a lot of you guys hire people left and right, but you guys aren't really looking at what your agents are doing and how they're generating their business. If you see an agent that all of a sudden is sending a bunch of business to the company and you're not a little bit concerned, that's a red flag. As a manager, agency owner, you should be very much motivated to ask that new recruit, hey, Johnny, how are you generating your business? How are you getting your leads? Because a lot of agents, a lot of them, even the veterans, are clueless when it comes to TCPA laws and DNC laws. That is the facts. Bottom line. In fact, when's the last time your upline stopped and trained you on how serious these guidelines are? When's the last time your upline explained to you that you can only call your leads 90 days from the moment in time they opted in? You're going to find out that most of these IMOs do none of that training. And I don't blame them. A lot of them are old timers that were door knockers that didn't do any of this. But in today's age, most field people are setting up appointments and picking up the phone. And when you're doing that, you're putting yourself at risk and, again, the agency that you're working for. I challenge you to read the contract that you have with the carrier that you work for. And I highlight the part in the contract where it talks about how you're responsible for telemarketing. And if you make any mistakes, you will indemnify the life insurance company that you work for. Not only you, but also the upline that you work for will indemnify the life insurance company. Guys, these lawsuits that I currently have, it's going to cost a whole lot of money to settle these out because the proof is irrefutable. The recordings of these non-licensed people selling insurance overseas, the harassment of unsolicited phone calls is documented. And another thing is that a lot of these life insurance companies, the days of saying, well, we didn't know, it was a rogue agent, those days are coming to an end because you guys make millions of dollars from the sale of all these policies. And a lot of those policies are done over the telephone, especially since 2020. And according to vicarious liability, if you're profiting from it, you can't just turn a blind eye and say, oh, by the way, we didn't know. When you're providing zero training with the high level of complaints and your managers are not doing any training. So these people, your agents that are buying leads that don't know what to do are basically making mistakes in most of the cases out of straight ignorance. And let me tell you what, when the litigators call, when the lawyers send you a lawsuit, I got 3 right now. Those lawyers, they're expensive. And to fight these, you got to have a whole lot of money or else you'll be out of business. And everyone associated from the agent to the upline to the carrier can be vicariously liable if they meet those triggers that I shared with you. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but this is direct information from my legal team. And the biggest one is apparent authority. Are your agents dropping your agency name every time they can to their clients? If they are, you're on the hook. Are you making an override compensation over the sale of those policies that were obtained illegally? And if the answer is yes, you're on the hook. And these violations can cost millions of dollars. I've seen companies be shut down. Assurance IQ got shut down. $25 million was one of the settlements that they had to settle out because of the same reason. So don't be dumb. Do the research. Find out what your agents are doing. And more importantly, make sure they're not working leads that are going to get them in trouble. Peace.